Good morning, friends, and thank you for tuning in to WildOne Forever's The Daily Nosh with me, Meredith Loughran. To nosh is to eat enthusiastically, and we've all heard the term, you are what you eat. So my goal is to feed you messaging with anecdotes, inspiration, and positive things to start the day. Today is May 12th, 2020, and I wanted to share something about the health journey and keeping an open mind. Now, I'm 5'2", and I was getting to a point where I felt like I was as wide as I was tall. That's not a good place to be when you are a middle-aged woman, and I am nearing the age of 50 with a grandchild on the way. There was something that clicked in my head that I needed to change things up. So, a couple of months ago, I started my health journey. I began to walk, and in walking, I found time to think. With every footstep, it was great to kind of pound out literally what I was going to do for the day. It allowed me time to appreciate the things that were around me, whether it was the birds singing or the traffic, random people who were sitting on their front porches yelling out hello. And maybe that's the neighborhood that I live in, but I also want to believe that it is the power of positivity. You know, when you put that out into the universe, you're going to get some of that back. And a random hello from strangers makes it feel like friends. And maybe that sounds a little bit corny, but that's the way I choose to look at it. So I I had a little bit of advice from my son. He knows that I've been working out, and he gave me a really great compliment. He said, "Mom, I'm starting to see, the weight loss in your face and your neck, and you're doing a really good job." He says, "Let's turn it up a little bit. I want you to do a slow jog." And I said, "Honey, I don't jog because I have way too many moving parts." And he says, No. A slow jog is at the pace of a walk, but you're moving more. You are bouncing, but you shouldn't be out of breath. It's more fat burning exercise. And I said, okay, I'll give it a try. So over the weekend, I tried it. And I was probably going a little bit too fast. I was actually doing a jog instead of the slow jog, if you will. And I was almost to the park when, that's my turnaround point to do my 1 mile with this additional exercise. And somebody pulls over and rolls down the window and says, "You're gonna hurt yourself." Just totally unsolicited advice. And he says the worst thing you could do is go jogging on concrete because you're overweight and you're gonna hurt yourself. And, I could have taken that as a huge insult because I know that I'm overweight. I don't need other people pointing that out to me. It is quite obvious when we're on the street. But I chose not to be insulted, and I wanted to hear what this guy had to say because I think maybe he was well-meaning, and I wasn't going to be like, "Buzz off, buddy, mind your own business." I was like, okay, well, so tell me, where am I supposed to jog? And he says, on the grass. It's a lot easier on your ankles and your knees. And that made sense. So I was like, okay, here's the problem though. We live in Florida. There's sandy soil, and I just assume not run on the grass because I don't want to twist my ankles. You don't know what dog's been digging ditches or what anthill you're going to trip over. He goes, very good point. He says, when you're on this journey, maybe you should think about biking. And I said, considering where we live, Florida has one of the highest hit and runs. I said, I don't want to be on the road with these crazy Florida drivers. He starts laughing. He says, that's a good point. That's a good point. And he said, well, consider what you're doing and be careful. He says, if you can bike, that's great. If you can find a place to swim, that's great. And he says, I really wish you good luck on this journey. And that felt good because, again, it was one of those things that was totally unsolicited, just like the neighbor down the street. You don't know their name, but if you're walking and you've got a smile on your face and you're just happy to be alive, it's nice when they say hello. It adds to the day. And maybe that's part of my DNA. I don't know. It could be. I've been through plenty in my life where I could easily have been a very negative person, but going back to my DNA, my blood type is actually B positive. And that's my story. I'm sticking with it. I can't help it. So let's turn those lemons into lemonade. Now, another thing that I'm doing with this health journey is I choose not to weigh myself every day. And that's because I don't want to be just a number when it comes to the weight loss. I don't want to count. I don't want to think about it too hard. I just want to do. So if I'm doing the right thing, whether it's eating right, just keeping an eye on my portions, eat when I'm hungry, and exercise a little bit every day, try and get my cardio up, it feels so much better because the alternative was that I would be on the couch with my bag of Cheetos and I would be complaining about my weight. And I would be complaining about my back and how I felt, and I was all depressed, and I was making every excuse in the book not to exercise. It's too hot outside. Oh, it's too late in the day. Oh, I've got so much to do. It's so important to take the time to take care of yourself. It really is. That is part of the health journey too. If you can just put pause on everything else and take care of you. I've been doing that, and for the longest time, I felt like I was being selfish. And that's a crazy way to think. We need to turn that around. If you think that you're selfish because you want to take 5 minutes or a half an hour or an hour, then you really need to switch that thinking. That's not selfish. That's self-preservation. We all need that time in the day. And some of us need more time than others. And that's okay. If you plan it out, schedule me time. That's good. That's not selfish at all. Have a goal in mind. Start creating those healthy habits, because at the end of the day, the only one who's living in your skin is you. You have to want it enough to do something about it. Get off your butt, go do something positive, schedule some me time, go for a walk, or if you don't have the time to do that, at least go outside and find something that you can appreciate. Find beauty in the unexpected things, whether it's snapping a photo and finding images in the clouds, or finding a face in the tree bark, or watching an anthill. Hopefully it's not in your house. It's that season in Florida. But again, it's one of those things where you just need to take a moment. And circling back to the unsolicited advice that I had gotten from a well-meaning passerby, I could have taken what he said in a very negative way. I could have thought of it as an insult, and I chose not to. I wanted to stay open and hear what he had to say before I passed judgment. And some people can't handle unsolicited advice. Certainly, somebody stopping me maybe 10 years ago and saying, "You shouldn't be doing that, you're overweight." That could have been a fight, a while ago. But I chose to be open, and I didn't take it to heart that he meant that in a mean-spirited way. And certainly by the end of the conversation, we had found out a little bit about each other. We learned more, and while we're not friends, we are certainly not enemies. And to John, the Marine out there, hoorah! I've got 2 boys in the Marine Corps, and it was great to meet you, and I will take your advice into consideration. I am looking for those pathways to jog and get my heart pumping and get back into shape. So thank you guys for tuning in to the Morning Nosh with me. We are going to be exclusively on Podbean beginning May 18th, and you'll be able to unlock future episodes with a $5 pledge every month. And that's going to give you about 20 episodes a month, not including May because we started in the middle of the month. But we hope that you tune in and share this out with your friends. You can follow us at wildoneforever.com, and you can follow this podcast on podcast.wildoneforever.com. Until tomorrow.